So today we are going to get into so yesterday was just a brush on what child psychology is, right? So understanding these factors, influence, etc. Today we are going to get a bit more into the theoretical aspect, right? I will try to keep it as connected to your teaching process, but I want you to also, so I will, talk a lot. You don't need to get into the theory in so much. I will also not try to get into the theory so much, but at least just give you an idea so that you're able to understand behavior and understand where the children are coming from, and the way that they are communicating, expressing, learning, processing, right? Where does that come from, and what these major psychologists thought of, right? So okay, can anybody tell me? I'm sure we have a few science teachers here. If we don't, in teachers in general, what is the meaning of development? What does that mean? Anybody? I'm not restricting
There
it to
are
just. Yes, sir.
there are physical development as well as mental development.
Very good. So, what would that entail, sir? What do we mean when I say development? Is it just growing
Achieving the
bigger?
milestones in the correct age.
Okay. 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 Fair enough. So, I'll put another question in front of everybody. What is the difference between growth and what is the difference between development? Right?
Can
Is it
I?
one and the same thing? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
No.
Please go ahead.
Okay. So growth is basically we can see like somebody is growing in height, weight,
Okay.
and
Mm-hmm.
development is generally a term used when we are talking about the socio-emotional development or
Mm-hmm.
cognitive development, which cannot be
Hmm.
seen through the naked eyes. So like
Okay. So,
IQ or
okay.
growing in their development in their
Okay.
social aspect, etc.
Okay. Fair enough. So, growth is a very unilateral term. Okay. It usually is a positive, aspect. That means there is only addition to it, right? A child is of a certain height, they've gained a certain height. This class is of a certain size, it has grown to so much size. Do you understand what I mean? That is what growth means. Development means there is an advancement, right? It could be, and there is a change. There's even a if idea of evolving. Okay, that means there is no unilateral change. It could be holistic. That is what development means. That is the reason why we use it for economies, we use it for growth of a child, we use it for people, we use it for schools, right? Infrastructure is developing. What does that mean? It is something which is all across, right, and different areas. So human development also is something which is very complex because there are so many factors. It is so varied, it is so independent at the same time, still based on certain factors, right? These development, so that is what development means. Developmental theories basically try to explain, right? So in psychology, all we're trying to do is we take what is happening and we try to give it a sense of predictability, right? That means with the information that I have gained from this society, from people, individuals, all across, I try to understand how people are growing, learning, thinking, acting, behaving, etc., 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 right? Then theories try to cover all aspects. That means social aspect, emotional aspect, cognitive aspect, intrinsic aspect, extrinsic aspect, behavioral aspects, all of these. Why? Because each psychologist came and thought that this is more important than this. Somebody believed the cognitive influence is more, somebody believed genetics was more important, somebody believed that the environment was more important, right? And it is our job, in order to understand the child psyche, we take all of these into account, right? At the end of the day, the psychologist, the reason why we are working on developmental theories is that we're trying to predict and explain behavior across lifespan of any individual, right? And we, of course, in our domain, in associating ourselves with children, we try to focus on children. Okay. So these developmental theories in general are trying to explain how children are growing up, why are they behaving the way that they are, what could be the challenges that they face, what kind of problems and issues are they happening, and how are they solving it, and how does that affect their behavior at large, right? Yes.